When I first started?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if I ever told you this, but my history, music history started probably when I was 6 years old. My mother was just like all over it. She's like Elvis Presley. She was just like, you know, oh, Elvis, probably creaming her britches. Excuse me. But she was on to my dad and she said, Bud, I gotta go see him, and he's down in Oklahoma City. And apparently they couldn't find any babysitters for us 3 kids. So they had to tag us along, and they took us down there. I'm 6. Steve's probably 7. Cassie has the most 9. So we didn't have any significance. I mean, we knew who Elvis was, and I was sitting in a seat, and there was a big tall guy in front of me, and I couldn't see shit. So I went out into the aisle and sat on the aisle, the steps, and there it was, right down at the end of the aisle, there was Elvis. Purple guitar, and oh my God, he played Blue Suede Shoes and all that. Well, that happened, and that was big enough. But then the next concert I went to, my parents took us, and this time it was Cassie that was really just, oh my God, Beatlemania, And so my mother and dad got us tickets to Kansas City in 1964, October. This is the first time that the Beatles came to the States. And here they come. We got tickets, and we're on a baseball field outdoors, and we were up. We had good seats, and the place was packed, dark, and here they come in a helicopter. You could hear them coming, whoop, 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 whoop. And they landed in center field. Stage setup was on second base, and they jumped out of that helicopter and had their guitars on, all 4 of them, and they jumped out. Ringo had a pair of sticks in his hands, and they were up on stage, and that helicopter was taking off, and within a minute later they were playing I Want to Hold Your Hand. And oh, it was a great concert. That really influenced Steve a lot too, as far as professionalizing himself. But my brother taught himself everything. He didn't go to school or anything. Yeah, one of the best musicians I think there ever was. Back in the day. It was too early, media did not. Yeah. That's about it on that. I played, not professionally, but, I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I got to play with Charlie Daniels, did some gigs with AC/DC, 38 Special, Molly Hatchet, who we called Smelly Cat Shit.
You're shaking me. You can't sit over there.
Sorry, that was hilarious.
Dave Lubeck, the leader of the band one time, we were in the lunchroom eating. We had pork chops. My God, Dave Lubeck, he took a disliking to me. I don't know why, but we were getting ready to leave our group, and we were walking over towards the door, and all of a sudden, go whack right in the back of the neck, and son of a bitch threw a pork chop at me and hit me right in the back of the head. And they were all just assholes. That's why we nicknamed him Smelly Cat Shit. We didn't like him.
I could tell.
We got to play with some other pretty good bands. Kenny Loggins, remember that?
Oh, yeah, I do remember
What
that.
year was that?
Oh, gosh, that was in the 70s.
80.
It wasn't 80, I don't think.
We weren't married?
No, I don't think so. Not when you played with them. That had to have been 78, 79. I do remember that, though.
Yeah. Then I also got to play with, later on, Sidney Drashin from Jacksonville. He was one of the biggest
He was a jerk.
bullshitters.
He was a jerk.
Yeah, we called him Sidney Trash Can.
He was a jerk.
His name was Drashin, but we nicknamed him Sidney Trash Can.
And a fast talker.
Because he always had kind of like slobber coming out of his mouth, nose ring of white, cocaine everywhere. He spent all our money. We played some pretty big gigs. We played up in Roanoke, Virginia. We got to play in Greensboro, North Carolina, Greensville, South Carolina. We went down to Lakeland, Jacksonville Coliseum. We played Lakeland, Tampa, Orlando. We got to play some pretty big gigs.
Yeah, you did.
And like 20,000 people out there. All we did was play 3 songs, but it was a lot of fun.
He played with Jimmy Van Zandt, or they were?
Yeah, it was Jimmy Van Zandt. His claim to fame was his dad, and Ronnie and Donnie and Johnny's dad were brothers. And he was the only male in his family. So yeah, we put together a Van Zandt Games kind of ideal.
Yeah, well, remember, Sidney wanted you to do that, and you kind of frowned on that because he was wanting to use the Gaines and the Van Zandt name to pull people in, and you didn't like that. He was running the show.
Yeah, right.
He was
Well,
running
the
the
end
show.
of the band ended up being called the Jacksonville Band. So, and it was a fun time. I was the oldest one in the band, but the other guys were just young, wild, hairy, curly hair, just crazy. But we had 3 guitar players. This one guy in our band, he played, his name was Jim, what's his name? That's over there.
Gosh, I'm thinking.
Something with an M, but he played guitar, a right-handed guitar, strung up right-handed, like a Fender Strat,
He was good.
but he turned it upside down and played it strung up right-handed and played it. I mean, he blew it away. He was so good. We played in Chattanooga, played in Fayetteville, Arkansas. It was a lot of fun. We'd go over there and play. Brooksy, he was, I can't remember if he was with us or not.
I went with you.
Well, you knew the Kate brothers then. You knew the Kate brothers and
Oh, yeah. Listen to the Kate Brothers. Brooksy was playing in a band called Zorro and the Blue Football.
I got their album still.
Do you really?
Uh-huh.
And there were 2 bars right next to each other. One of them was called the Library, and the other one was just next door. But they were playing in one bar, we were playing in the other bar. And of course, we all knew each other, so they had a wild gig. They'd come out on Act 2, and they'd just be totally naked, except for that they'd have a white jockey strap on, and they'd have a brunette full head wig stuffed down that jockey strap.
Remember, he had a big old phone, and nobody wanted to sit up front because they take the. One time I was there, and he walked over to the pitcher of beer, and he put the phone in the pitcher of beer and sucked up all the beer. Of course, when he walked away, he looked like he was peeing. I mean, they did not care what they did. You never sat up front, and everybody that knew him did not sit up front.
Yeah, James was Money and Wendy. They were the two frontmen.
They were
One
bad
blew
boys.
the hottest saxophone you ever heard.
Oh, yeah.
And Wendy, I think he did a little bit of everything, like flute. He was the one that was just really quick mouth. He'd have, it was a college town, Fayetteville. They had 2 or 3 junior colleges over there, and so that's who we catered to. We played to, you know, that young crowd, boy. I mean, they went ape shit.
Yeah.
So
I heard a recording they did at the Miners Club in Joplin, and I think either Brady or Barry came in, and he saw him, and they started making fun of him, you know. And I was just like, unless you had the inside scoop of what was going on, you thought they were really giving him shit, you know.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was everybody else was cracking up. It was
hilarious.
But I'll tell you what, that album is good music. The lyrics were kind of dirty, but the music was awesome. But I still have that album, and it's still in the cover. Zorro and the Blue Footballs. Everybody eats when they come to my house.